Hello everyone, I'm here today with a new process video, and this is for my Dublin album, and this is an insert here with all 2x2 squares, which are always tough for me to use, and because this is a smaller insert, this is only 4x6 total. It's even more of a challenge because this isn't a full 6x8 size either, even though the rest of the album is. This is an insert. So I've got multiple things happening here. And I'm hoping that this goes quickly enough that I can do both sides. So I'm going to start with this one, then I'll move to the second one unless the video starts to get too long. For this side, if you've watched any of my other videos that I've done so far for Dublin, it's not a lot, but there are some. I mentioned in there, I'm keeping a notebook of things when ideas come to me from products that I have. So this was one of them. It says, see the world. I had written myself a note saying, use that with these photos for this layout. So I do have that pulled out of my stash and ready to go. I also have one for the other side that I had written myself about that too. So sometimes it helps to leave yourself notes, I'm discovering. So I will work this in somehow, but I really don't know anything else about how I'm going to put this together and what's going to go in those squares. So when I went into my bin of stuff that's specifically for this trip, both Dublin and Wales, I had this in there. This is an 8x8 piece of vellum. It is from Pretty Little Studio. It's from their line called Let's Go. It's kind of old. I've had it for a long time. But I love the fact that it's blue, which I have lots of blue happening here, and then it has planes on it with the little trails. And I'm wondering if I can cut a square of this and use it so that it shows through both sides, because obviously it's empty on both layouts. Now from the back it would be very muted, but I'm okay with that. I'm sure I could find something that would work on that rather than having to cut two pieces of this, because I don't need it this bold on both sides, I don't think. So I'm thinking about that. You know what, before I say that, let's check what is on the other side. Is it still a flight? Oh, it's not. Well, there goes that idea then. It won't show through because that wouldn't work. I'm already in Dublin here. So if I cut it, then I will end up using it just on this side. Good thing I looked. Now I know it's one side only. All right, so I cut out my square, and the nice thing about this paper is when you do Pretty Little Studio papers like this and they're 8x8, you might wonder, why do they do it that way? I don't know, I can't say for sure, but I love it because I just cut off a 2-inch strip to work for this, and I still have a 6x8 piece of paper. So I could use this as a background in another 6x8 travel album and not really have to do anything to it, which is awesome. So in order to figure out what else I want to do in these squares, I've pulled out a bunch of stuff. I have this bag that were all things that I thought might work for this album. I have another little thing here that were sort of miscellaneous items that were questionable but had themes that might work. So you can see, like, I even have an acrylic piece that says March because I went in March, right before COVID, as a matter of fact. And then I have a bunch of things from the Allie Edwards travel release, the last one that she did, that might also work. Do these fit? Ooh, kind of. The top would stick out. So, I mean, I have options here. So I'm going to look through all of this stuff and find, is there anything that will work in a 2x2 space? I was really intrigued by these sort of leatherette, I think that's what they are, leatherette tags. And I had 3 potential colors that would work, but what's on them doesn't really work. And actually this blue color isn't right, so that isn't good. I loved the idea of doing yellow, but it's got a tropical scene on it, and I didn't go tropical, so I don't feel like that works. And this one, I do have green in there. It's a little bit lighter than what you see here, but again, like, I'm not going to a forest, and it wasn't tons of outdoorsy stuff like hiking or anything, so sadly, none of those work. All right, so I may have found something that will work. I pulled out all that Allie Edwards stuff, and this was a 4x6 card. This also came on it with a bunch of different phrases that you can cut out. And I'm really liking this one because it matches this green pretty closely there. And I love what it says. Travel is not reward for working. It's education for living. Now, obviously in a 2x2 space, I can't use it as is. I'll have to cut it probably in 3 or 4 pieces. I also love that it's by Anthony Bourdain. So I think I'm going to cut that out and use it, and then I'll just have to get creative with how to place it. And then I'm thinking I may actually go with just a white background because I have this. The other option is I can cut another square of this and have it in opposite corners and then layer the strip over that. All right, I have cut that down. And I do want to use it there, I believe. And then I just have to figure out, do I want another piece of this behind it? I think that might make it too busy. Just go with white. I could also potentially do like a pale yellow, although you know what? I just noticed if I use yellow, they're spaced out here. It would be better to have it behind this. So maybe I'll go and search for a scrap piece of yellow cardstock for here. So I went into my yellow scraps and I have picked out some options here. They all have a pattern of some type. Some are more subtle than others, but I like the idea of having a subtle pattern instead of having it just be blank and plain yellow. So these are the ones that I've selected, and then I just have to make my choice on what's really going to look the best. I think I'm going to try them all out and make my decision from there. I've decided to go with this one, which is probably the most subtle of what I had. Really, the only one I didn't like was this one. When I put this up there, it just felt too busy. The other ones still had a stronger pattern, but I think they would have been okay. But I think I'm going to maybe save those for something else, and I'm going to use this one here. I attached the wood veneer piece, and then I also decided to just go with the white background. And so I have also attached the quote here that I have from the Allie Edwards cut up card. So really then I only have to decide what else I want to go here. I do kind of want something in the middle, so I need to pull out my puffy stickers and my chipboard and cork and all that stuff and see what will work there. So when I went through this little baggie of stuff that I had, this was in there and I considered that for a moment, but I think it's too brown, it's too dark, that's very light. But this rubber embellishment was in there and I don't remember where I got this or who makes it, and I think I've had it a long time. I'm not sure if it came kind of that yellowy or if it has turned that way over time, but you know, it kind of works with what I've got going here since I have those, you know, yellow things in there. That would be okay. So I think I'm going to attach that right in the middle. That way you can still see some of the planes and it works with my colors. For attaching the rubber embellishment, I have found over time that using glue dots isn't the best because it somehow reacts with the rubber and will start to leave a ring around it if it spreads far enough, so I don't want to do that. So how I choose to attach those is using red line tape. So I will do that. The only thing with that is this stuff is serious. If you put it on there, this is not coming off. So I just have to make sure that I carefully place it where I want it because once it's on, it's not moving. All right, that is stuck down for life now and everything's in order, so we'll do some close-ups here. Here's my top row, the middle row, and the bottom row. And since this video I think is already about 8 minutes long, I think I'm going to stop here, and I'm not sure if I'll do a video for the other side or not, but I think this one is good where it is, and so I'll be done for today. And it's another one completed for Dublin. Thanks for watching.